Introducing you to the people of Uniondale. This is the Voice of Uniondale, Nicole Byrne.
Hi, friends. Welcome if this is your first time listening, or welcome back to the Voice of Uniondale. Today's episode is all about purpose, power, and rising together. I'm so excited to introduce a woman whose work is transforming lives and building stronger communities, one empowered voice at a time. Joining me is Anika Joseph, a powerhouse healthcare executive, nonprofit leader, and passionate advocate for women and girls. Originally from the island of St. Lucia, Anika brings global perspective and local impact through her Bronx-based nonprofit Women's Empire, Inc. Since its founding, her organization has supported over 1,600 women and girls through education, wellness, entrepreneurship, and leadership programming. In 2024, she launched the EmpowerHer Fund, a bold micro-grant initiative supporting women-led grassroots projects throughout New York City. Her work goes beyond services. It creates opportunities, sparks confidence, and inspires lasting change. Anika holds a master's degree in public administration with a focus on health policy and has led powerful healthcare initiatives across the city. She is now expanding Women's Empire reach through borough events, school partnerships, and a growing community of changemakers. At the heart of it all, Anika leads with humility, faith, and a deep belief that when women rise, everyone rises with them. I'm honored to share her journey today, and please join me in welcoming the incredible Anika Joseph to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Nicole. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so happy that you took some time to come in and share your story and tell us about how you got to where you are.
So Women's Empire came from a very interesting place. So when I went off to college, I went to University of Bridgeport in Connecticut, and I was very involved on campus, actually, and I really liked it. I liked it actually more than my classes.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what made me realize there's this passion for service and doing more. And when I graduated, there's no more campus life. There's no more activities. You're now in the 9-to-5 world.
Yes.
Doing the everyday adult things. And I remember thinking this is just not enough for me. I know I'm working and I luckily had a job out of college, but I wanted more after work. I wanted just more community and connections.
Yes.
So I decided to rally some of those same girls I went to college with in the beginning and say, let's do this community event. I think our first event was a voter registration drive out in Brooklyn. We wanted to just get people registered to vote. We were not under an organization. It was not formed. It was just me saying, let's do this how we used to do this back in college.
Yeah.
Rally people together and do action in our community. And quite a few women joined and said, yep, let's do this. We've been doing this and we love to keep doing it again now outside of school. And it was so successful in terms of the number of people we got registered to vote. But then numerous people came up to us saying, what organization are you guys with? This is really exciting. And I was like, none. It's just us. And then I was like, okay, well, there's clearly a need maybe to do this, more organized.
Yes.
And after that event, I asked all the ladies in a text message and says, if you would like to do this again in the future under an organization, let me know. And probably 80% said, yep, I'm down. And I decided that night, I came up with all the elements of what the organization was going to be that very night.
Wow.
I did not have a name that I loved in the beginning. It came probably 2 months later. Women's Empire Incorporated finally came into play. But the organization, the focus, and what the mission was going to be was all set that very night.
Wow. And what is the mission?
Our mission is to empower women and girls across New York City. So that it's a broad mission because we do a combination of social events, empowerment workshops, meetup and greet ups, networking. So we say, and we use the word empowerment very broadly because we want to be able to cater and do various different types of events and workshops and meetups.
So what type of events have you done so far with empowering women and girls?
So right now, we, as you mentioned in the bio, we've serviced over 600 women and girls. And that has been since we've officially been active in 2016 to now. So I think a little shy under 10 years. And we have facilitated at least 3 empowerment brunches, like conference brunches for women, bringing larger groups of women together. But we've also done a combination of like networking events. We've also done a combination of events with young women in schools. So we had the privilege of working with a partner who was able to give us access into the DOE schools, where we were able to bring empowerment workshop topics to those high schoolers. So talking about entrepreneurship, careers, resume writing, things that a young girl should prepare for as they prepare to exit the high school setting. So our workshops within the schools were very specific on career building and exiting college with the right tools. And in the community, we do more social things. So we will host an event on health and wellness, talking about, things that people don't love to talk about. We will do a finance workshop, how to balance your account, how to plan for the future in terms of saving, things of that nature. We do have these 5 pillars, and the 5 pillars of Women's Empire, I think we cover health and wellness. So we do events under that category. We cover financial empowerment, which is any sort of finance type of workshop.
Yes.
Education. So we like women to push education, so learning a new skill, learning how to use Microsoft better, Excel better, things of that nature.
Right.
And the violence against women is a big one for us. So we always host a domestic violence awareness programming in the fall. And
now, wait, let me stop you there. With that, is that to help women recognize the signs beforehand and also giving them resources just in case that they are in that type of situation?
Yes, so it is that combination. It's a combination of sharing the stories of the women who've actually survived those situations and giving them the opportunity to share with women directly what they should look out for, what they should do if they ever encounter that situation.
Right.
And we try to make it also celebratory as well, acknowledging the fact that, you've overcame, and we want to recognize you for that and your strength. And I think the last pillar is entrepreneurship. We had the ability to partner with an amazing organization called Becoming the CEO, where she hosts workshops that specifically tie into entrepreneurship. So she's teaching young girls a skill. So, in the summertime, they don't have to be out all over the city just doing nothing. They can actually tap into what they learned in those workshops in terms of hair braiding and nail care and things of that nature, which is really exciting.
Being an entrepreneur and then thinking beyond entrepreneurship, thinking like, this is a business. I could be a CEO of this business.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of young girls are doing this stuff already. They just haven't capitalized on what this business could look like. So that's where we come in as the senior folks to say, like, hey, you already know how to braid. How about we show you how to, improve on that skill, one, in the braiding, and show you the business side of it. So then in the summertime, you can start getting your clients.
Right.
And because financial empowerment is also super important to women, especially in this time. So showing a young girl how to generate positive income in a way where she's comfortable and it's already her skill is so powerful.
Yes. Consistent income is important as well. Let's go back to Anika, St. Lucia.
Yes. My beautiful island, St. Lucia. I actually left St. Lucia in 2005. I was super young. I was a teenager at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still got the values from there. Would you say that what you learned there, you brought to college? Or because it had to come from somewhere.
So I think it's from a place of, I think what St. Lucia did for me the most is trying to just share as much as I can about the island. Most people don't know St. Lucia. I think most people know St. Lucia now. And I say most people in the last maybe 5 to 10 years. Prior to that, everyone would be like, is it St. Lucie? Are you from St. Lucie? And I'm like, no, it's St. Lucia. We're an extremely small island, but it's a very beautiful island. And
mountains.
And we have a lot of values. And I like to say we're very nice people. I can't speak for every St. Lucian, but I could tell you for the most part, the island is a very relaxed type of island, and most of the people are very chilled and easy to get along with. So when I meet people, I think just being myself in those environments, and then they hear their accent and they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, St. Lucia. And they're like, wow, I've never heard that place, but it must be nice because your affect and your voice,
Yes.
sounds really nice,
Yes.
So, but definitely a lot instilled. I'm true through and through a Caribbean girl. I still cook mostly Caribbean meals because that's what I grew up on.
Yes.
And all of my family is St. Lucian. Some are still down there and some are here.
Okay.
So I'm fully immersed in the culture and like, what does that look like in terms of everyday and how we manage our home, our children, our lives.
Yes.
It's fully in that culture, yeah.
What from there do you bring to Women's Empire?
I think it just goes back to the Caribbean culture, a sense of like unity and like boldness to say like, there are people from the islands that can make a difference anywhere.
Yes.
So I think it's about representation. For me, being a Black Caribbean girl living in America and trying to like figure out her way and her footings, but also sharing in an area of empowerment, because I think in the islands, the empowerment word is not used the way it's used here internationally, at least in the U.S.
Right.
Because while empowerment means something so different to them, they see empowerment as like against men more in the islands. So it's a tricky sense. So being able to share it here, I think it's a little freer and more accepted. But in terms of like what I directly bring, I think it's just a sense of like my community and a sense of like this is who I am, and I may talk different, look different, or I may share things about my culture, about my family and our perspective. But most of it is just being given an opportunity to represent the island as a Caribbean girl right here in the U.S. is an honor.
Excellent. I like that. I like that you shared how the word empowerment is different there. I thought it would have been the same as here, but that's good to know.
I think the definition is the same. I think how people, there's a definition and there's a feeling.
Yes.
Behind sometimes a definition.
Yes.
And when I've shared it a few times on the island with friends, especially my male friends, it's like, oh, here you guys go, wanting your rights, wanting this, and it's not seen as the most positive thing. It almost seems as if women's empowerment is like, you're jumping on the bandwagon of like, I'm a feminist and, the context of like, I potentially hate men or not acceptive of men. And in actuality, we collaborate with men.
Right.
Men are our allies, our partners in this, they help us share our message, so I have a very different perspective of how at least in my country, I can't talk about for all the islands, in my country, how we may view empowerment. But I know there are a lot of women in the island that are looking for true empowerment, and they don't have that.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to bring it there.
Yes, that's the goal.
In the future.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Now, tell us about the micro grant initiative that you launched, EmpowerHer Fund. How did that come about?
So that came actually from a vision that God actually gave. And I think it directly tied into who I am and what I believe. I highly believe in financial empowerment, like financial empowerment in the sense of like your time is of value, your resources are of value, your products that you have to showcase are of value. And I think compensating people for that appropriately is extremely important. I try to do that with the people that I work with, and I try to encourage people to always, seek out an equitable exchange for their resources.
Right.
So we do a lot of empowerment work in the community. And while it's extremely beneficial for the receivers and extremely comforting to me to know that I hosted a free workshop on finances, that's great. You just took some information from me and I'm very happy about it. But I think like what's really important is to provide people access to funds to be able to really do the work. Because otherwise you're just, and everybody does not have the ability to do this, but I think just talking about it is great, and the information and the education of it is good, but giving people like actual funds and say, go and take this and now apply this to the project that you wanted to do. That's really a big focus of mine. So it was in the last quarter of 2024. I was actually
just recently.
Okay. I was actually on maternity leave. I had just given birth to my daughter in August.
Congratulations.
And I was just home, I should have been enjoying the time with her, but I can't help but work, and my mind is like always moving. And the vision came. It had already been planted months before. I just never knew what it would look like. God said, you're going to be giving grants to people. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't know what that looks like. So while I was home, it just came into my mind, and I said, why don't you just get started on what that might look like? And I went an interesting route. I just contacted a few, colleagues of mine, friends,
Yes.
and I said, what do you think about this idea?
Uh-huh.
And people were very receptive. They're like, I want to join this fund. I want to join whatever that is.
Oh, wow.
I want to contribute my own money to it. And I was like really impressed because, when it's money now, everyone's like quiet.
Yes.
But it was not that at all. So I was able to gather a group of women. I think it's about 11 of us. We come together.
All right.
And we came up with the strategies and plan for what the fund is going to look like and who we're going to actually put our money towards. And what we do, we personally contribute to this pool. And we collectively choose an organization or a person who would benefit from those funds. And when I say benefit, I want to be clear. So the Empower Her Fund is as a result of any person that is interested in doing community work. So, for example, you've always wanted to, I'm making this up, feed the homeless, give coats, make COVID masses, things of that nature, things that you wanted to do for your community. So this is not direct funds in your pocket to keep and run away with. It's ideally money to give back, but you always wanted to give back, but you don't have the resources to give back.
Right.
So we offer this small micro grant, and we also provide you with as many resources, contacts as possible.
Yes.
And potential support if needed to actually execute your project. So we like folks to pitch the ideas to us of what you wanted to do for your community.
So cool.
A team of us review it, and we pick, an organization that's gonna get those funds.
It seems, I hear you say that. It sounds like it's the Shark Tank for nonprofit organizations.
Kind of.
Or for community-minded
Right.
individuals who want to empower and better their community. Shark Tank, come and pitch your
actually like
idea.
that. Yes,
pitch
yes.
your idea to us. Me and these other 11 women, pitch your idea because we believe in you and your cause.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the commonalities, the women that are coming together, they don't have the ability to do that for their community.
Right.
So this is their way of stamping and saying, I was able to paint this mural in this community. I was able to clean up this park with my contribution. So it ties directly to empowerment for them individually and also back empowerment for the community. So it's kind of like a 360. Everyone's benefiting in a very interesting way.
And the money is going around and helping the community,
Exactly.
which then helps
Exactly.
a young person to see and feel great about their community.
Exactly.
If it's with your example that we're going with, but it can be anything. And
it could be anything.
And then from there, they're like, oh, you know what? I can be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Or I can be the CEO of an organization.
Yes, definitely putting yourself in those opportunities, as a community leader, it definitely sparks more. Once you're in that space and you're facilitating a garbage pickup in a park, you feel so motivated to do this again.
Right.
And because it's definitely empowering to you. It really feels good, inside to be able to give back, especially in a way completely free.
Right. And oh, wow. It's so simple and it makes sense because I'm just going with your example. A young person or a man or a woman, they have struggles maintaining their household financially, but they want to clean up. Garbage bags cost money. Right. This micro grant can go towards the funds of purchasing
Agreed.
Wow.
Yes. Exactly.
Instead of going, some people aren't as open and want to share their ideas with people and say, hey, can you help out? Let's get the community. But if they already have the garbage bags purchased and we just need hands and gloves, come pick up in your time.
Yeah. And that's as simple as what it is. We encourage, folks to apply.
Yeah.
Anyone in New York can apply. Ideally, the projects, according to the restriction of the grant itself, the project has to be done in New York City, so one of our 5 boroughs. But anyone can apply towards the fund. It's a women's empowerment organization, so naturally we get most of our applicants are women, which are 100% okay. This is we've always called it a grant for women to do more in the community, but we've seen other people apply and at least men apply as well, and we're open to that as long as the funds are going to go towards benefiting the community, and we have a way of measuring that. So there are some internal tracking pieces that we do.
Excellent.
But separate from that, as long as the project is happening in the city in one of our boroughs, then that's ideal.
Friends, if you didn't catch that, you do not have to be living in the city to apply for this grant. The work itself has to be done in one of the 5 boroughs in the city. So we're talking Staten Island, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, and Manhattan. I always forget one of them, but I did it. Yay. So know that you can apply. And men, the name men is in woman. So don't shy away, even if you think that this grant may not be for you, as long as you're doing good within those 5 boroughs. This grant is, you might as well apply for it. When is there a cutoff time for the grant?
So we are happy to facilitate this grant every quarter. So we're very happy about that. And in the future, we would hope to actually have it more frequently and expand. Everyone actually just missed the deadline of the June 1st, but it's every quarter. So our next deadline is September 1st. So if you have a project and you have an idea, we have a very straightforward application on our website, which I will share. So come September 1st, please pitch your idea to us. Our website is www.womensempire.org, and you could just /EmpowerHer Fund. But if you go directly to the website, you should be able to find the application. It will only take you 10 minutes to fill out the application. It's very straightforward. Once you have a comprehensive application, we'll be reviewing it.
Nice. What's next for Women's Empire? You've got the EmpowerHer Fund. Anything else on the horizon?
I think the expansion of the fund. I think as a result of rolling out the fund, there's been a lot of opportunities that have been presented to me. And the trustees and I, these women who joined me in this force, we would love in the future to have a scholarship for a young girl who's going off to college, who may not have all the funds or, the cash to be able to go buy a few things before they head off to college, wherever they're maybe going. So in the future, there is an opportunity for us to have a scholarship, and there is a potential opportunity in the future for us to actually have a second grant for people who are into entrepreneurship. So while this fund is going, again, it's just transported from one person to the community, we would love to be able to empower people to start their own businesses, or if you have an idea, we would love to invest in your idea to take off. So those are a few future things. No timeline yet.
That's
heavy
fine.
Discussion, which I'm very excited about. But that's planned for the future. So 2026, 27, God's willing, we'll be around.
Anika, this is the way it starts for you. You don't have to have a plan. As long as it's in your heart, please. From what I hear and from what I see of you, I know it's going to happen.
Yes.
So I wish you much success.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead and share any other contact information, if you've got a social media.
Yes. If anyone likes to get directly in contact with me, Anika, the CEO and founder, you can actually email us directly regarding partnerships or collaborations. It's info, INFO, at women's, so WOMENS, Empire, EMPIRE.org. You can email us directly. We do have a social media page, so you can find us on Facebook at Women's Empire. It'll say movement to delineate from the other women's empires. So Women's Empire Movement, as well as on Instagram. We're at womens.empire on Instagram. So that's women.empire right on Instagram. So check us out on there. And again, like I said on our website, feel free to check around. You'll see any upcoming events that we're having, or be able to contact other additional folks on our team, and anyone who's interested in making and supporting a contribution towards the EmpowerHer Fund. We're accepting donations. The larger the bucket, the more money we get to give out to the community. So if you'd like to donate, you can do that directly on our website at womensempire.org.
And one last question with that. You're designated as a 501c3.
I am, yes.
Okay.
I am very happy to announce that Women's Empire is a 501c3 organization. So we are an official not-for-profit recognized by the IRS. So all your donations will be filtered through our special portal for tracking purposes. So if you have any questions or would like a donation form for your donation that you've made for tax time, we're happy to provide those as well. So we do encourage everyone to make a contribution, as big or as small.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, Anika. That was great information that you shared with us. I would love to continue, but they only give me a 28-minute time slot. So we are close to the ending of the show. And the way I like to wrap up the show is by asking my guests to share something positive, something insightful that they've learned throughout their journey. Here's your opportunity to do that.
I like this opportunity. So this recently came up where I was in a room and everyone was asking, what have motivated you to overcome trauma and situations that were not, the most comfortable as a woman throughout the years? And I took an interesting approach when I shared a quote that I really liked that changed my perspective on how I looked at things that occurred to me, things that were done to me or around me. And the quote is, and I don't have a specific author, I think it's unknown. You can just Google it. But the quote is, if they took back the pain they caused, you would lose all the strength you gained. And while I really like that because it fit directly into maybe at a time I was really in a dark space and I really hated what was done to me, against me. And I remember reading that and I said, actually, as much as what they did was not the best, I developed into such a butterfly. I developed into such a person that I'm so proud of her that when I read that quote and I said, Anika, would you want them to undo it? And I'm like, yeah, I would. But actually, if they did, then I wouldn't be this version of myself. So it was about perspective for me. And that really helped in my journey of moving forward. So I like to share that with people because a lot of the times we want things to be undone. And in this unperfect world or imperfect world, we're never going to be able to undo certain things.
Right.
There's no sorry, there's no my bad that can take away certain things. But most of the time, people move on, you move forward, and you build strength from that place. So if they ever took back that, you would lose all the strength you gain. And I don't want to lose any of the strength I've gained. So again, just perspective. But I would love to, I like sharing that to people because it's an interesting way of looking at life.
Yes, that's fantastic. That is such a great way. I'm so happy that you shared that with us. Friends, you've heard it here from the founder and CEO of Women's Empire, also the creator of the micro grant EmpowerHer Fund, Anika Joseph. She shared with us a quote from an unknown source. It is, if they took back the pain they caused, you will lose all the strength you gain. It deals with, I like that you shared that, and it had me thinking. I was like, you know what, that is so true. Obstacles happen, challenges happen to us, but they happen to us to build our muscles. You do not build muscle without increasing the weight. So know that that weight increase is there to make you stronger.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Anika,
you so much,
being
Nicole.
here. You're so welcome. Thank you, friends, for listening. You are listening to the Voice of Uniondale. My name is Nicole Burke. Make sure to follow us on Spotify at the Voice of Uniondale and to come back next week to hear another journey from Uniondale. Bye for now.